Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The clarion call of the learned sages, the brilliant thinkers of the Vedic period was Uttishta. May I request you once more to please put your cell phones either on silent or off. I'm saying this not because I will be disturbed, I'll carry on. But I'm saying this because whoever's phone rings will incur the wrath of all the people around. It's not nice to get bad wishes from people. As far as I'm concerned, it's a wonderful thing to happen, because even in the Vedic period they used to say that whenever you did something good, a yajna, havan, any good activity, the Rakshasas used to come and spoil the activity. So don't become a Rakshasa. So the clarion call of the great Vedic sages in this country many thousands of years ago was Uttishta, Jagrata, Prapya Varan Nibodhata. Uttishta, arise. Arise from your apathy. Arise from your lethargy. Jagrata, awaken to your potential. And don't rest till the goal is reached, the goal of perfection. And thus it was that generations after generation of young Indians were brought up to pursue excellence and shun mediocrity. Thus this great Indian tradition and culture was born. This culture is unique in the world because it has the longest unbroken civilization. And in this long unbroken civilization, never has India gone and conquered other nations either by economic bullying, political clout, or military prowess. But yes, India went out and conquered the whole world, with its knowledge, with its wisdom, and by sheer example, by pursuing excellence and achieving that excellence. Whether it be in the field of sport or music, medicine or science, India's contribution to the world has been enormous. And today, again, the world is looking towards India at this enormous talent pool that's lying untapped in this country. The world is looking for India for its ancient wisdom, because corporate America, the Western world, has understood its own limitations and it's looking for knowledge. But we, unfortunately, are still in deep slumber. Like Gulliver, you and me in Bhavnagar in 2007, when we are looking at globalization, when we are looking at competition from the whole world, how can you and I in one little place in Bhavnagar stand up to that competition? Right? Are you up to it? Oh, great. Let's proceed. Now, the outstanding thing about the Indian culture is that nobody is disqualified. Have you ever heard of a knowledge? When you go and apply for IIM, you have to clear the cat or mouse exam. When you go to medical college, you have to clear an exam. When you go to IIT, you have to clear an exam. When you come to Vedanta, when it comes to true excellence, you don't have to clear anything because nobody is disqualified. Why is it that nobody is disqualified? Because excellence perfection is inherent in you. All you have to do is remove the junk. And enough junk you've accumulated. This is what Michelangelo said. Michelangelo said, inside every wood or a piece of wood or stone, there is a beautiful sculpture. All you have to do is remove the excess material. So today we're going to take a look at how to remove that excess material. Your potential is huge. Most of us, the best among us, tap barely 5% of the potential. And you'd only have to look within, remove the extra material, excess material, and you will tap into the whole of your potential. The world today does not require better doctors, better engineers, better IT professionals, better managers. All that the world requires is better human beings. And once you become a better human being, you automatically become a better doctor, IT professional, husband, wife, everything. So, all of us, sometime or the other, come up with brilliant performance. But the question is, how do you come up with consistent brilliant performance? This is the difference between a Roger Federer and an ordinary tennis player. This is the difference between a Tiger Woods and an ordinary golfer. This is the difference between the Australian cricket team and the Indian cricket team. So, when you get into the zone, as they call it, the zone, have you heard of the term? All right, not many. In the field of sport, they found that sports persons, like you saw recently in the test match against South Africa, in the first test, what is his name? Sri Sant, came up with a brilliant performance. How many wickets did he get? 10. Huh? Okay, 8. Second test, third test, failed miserably. That's no use. You should come up with consistent good performance. So, the sports persons and the coaches, they had tremendous pressure how to come up with good performance every time you go out to play. So, they analyzed that when you come up with good performance, what is it that contributes to it? And they found that amazingly, these sports people, when they get into the zone, they are able to focus 100% on their action and blank out all the distractions. The crowd is making a roar. There is pressure from the team to perform. There is pressure from within to come up with good results. And you blank it all out. Your mind is absolutely calm, quiet, and things seem to unfold almost as if in slow motion. This was the experience of all sports persons when they came up with peak performance. All of us have come out with brilliant performance sometime in our lives. Think back to that time. And you'll realize that at that time, your mind was absolutely quiet, still, calm. Your intellect thinks sharply, and the body comes up with brilliant dynamic action. This is exactly what the Gita said 5,000 years ago. The Gita confers two things on all of us. Number one, yogaha karmasu kaushalam. When you inculcate the principles of the Gita, whatever comes out of you will be perfection. And this perfect action comes from samatvam yoga uchyate. Quietude, equanimity of mind is yoga. So the two things that are required for perfect action, for excellence, are a calm mind and a sharp intellect. As a result of these two, the actions become brilliant. Now the question is, all of us are in varying degrees of disturbance of the mind. Do you all agree? And therefore, however much we try, however many degrees we get, however many courses we go to, out of this disturbed mind, only stupidity will come out. And that is why it is that you say, "Arey, I forgot this. I should have done this." In retrospect, we understand, but at that time, mediocrity comes out. So, anybody who is committed to excellence must deal with how to bring this disturbed mind to a quiet state. Therefore, you need to understand what disturbs the mind. What do you think disturbs the mind? No ideas? I'm not asking for words of wisdom. Krishna tells Arjuna that. In the Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, "Arjuna, you speak words of wisdom, but you are not able to act those words of wisdom." So, I'm not asking you for words of wisdom, I'm asking you in your experience, when you get upset, when you get stressed out, where do you think that this problem lies? Outside. Isn't that true? One person thinks, there was a guy, servant in Bombay, and he was excellent, very loyal, very honest, very caring about his boss, who was this old lady, widow, and lived all by herself. So he was her only support. But once in a week or once in 10 days, he would go and get completely drunk and create a problem. So one day I asked him, I said, "Why do you get drunk? Otherwise you're such a fine person. Why is it that you go out and get drunk and make a nuisance of yourself?" He told me, "Mem Saab, you have no idea. This lady is terrible. If you had to spend 24 hours a day with her, you will also go and get drunk." So, the servant thinks the master is the problem. The boss thinks the subordinate is the problem. The husband thinks the wife is the problem. And the wife thinks the children are the problem. Nobody accepts that I am the problem. And that is the thing. Remember one thing. As a human being, as the Shefter of creation, you have this outstanding ability in that nothing in the world can disturb you except yourself.